A very warm welcome to Tech Mining. In this tutorial, we will be creating multiple dynamic actions. The first dynamic action is named Name is Null, which triggers whenever the user navigates away from the name page item, and it checks whether the field is empty. If the name page item is empty, a red border will be applied to indicate that there is an issue. Subsequently, the border will be removed if the user leaves the name page item after entering some text. This functionality is achieved using two native actions, add class and remove class. The second one contains two dynamic actions named, item gets focus, and item loses focus. These actions are triggered when the user enters and leaves any page item within the edit region of the form page. Upon gaining focus, the dynamic action enhances the highlighting to clearly indicate the current focus, and this additional highlighting is subsequently removed when the user moves away from the item. These actions also utilize the same pair of native actions, add class and remove class. The third one comprises a single dynamic action named stripe report, responsible for alternating row colors within the report. This alternating effect is applied on both, during the page load and after the interactive report undergoes a refresh due to actions like filtering or sorting. To facilitate developers, a SQL file named EMP department is provided in the source code in the video description, which creates the table and its seed data used in this video. Now let's get started. First, go to Shared Components. Click Plugins option. And create a new plugin from scratch. The plugin we are creating here will only be utilized in the last dynamic action named Stripe Report. The first and second dynamic actions are not related to this plugin and its seed data. Enter an internal name for the plugin. The internal name is used internally by Oracle Apex for identifying the plugin, and is not displayed. The internal name must be unique to your current application. Set the type to dynamic action. Specify under which category the plugin will be displayed in the user interface. Copy and paste the PL SQL code. The code contains function for rendering, validating execution and AJAX callbacks for the plugin. Enter the name of the PL SQL procedure or function, to be called to render the plugin. Place a check mark on, check fire on initialization, which defines the default value for the actions fire on initialization field. And click the button Create Plugin. Edit the plugin by clicking its name. Scroll down to Custom Attributes. And click the button Add Attribute. Selecting the scope to component, the attribute can be defined each time the plugin is referenced in a component. Specify a label which is displayed for an attribute. Specify if this attribute must contain a value. Scroll down to Default Value, to enter the color code. And click the Create button. Now, scroll down to Files section. And click the button Create File. From the source code, select the Stripe Report JavaScript file. And click the Create button. Copy the reference of the file to clipboard. and paste it under the section, Files URL to load, in the JavaScript. Save the changes. After creating report and form pages, open form page in the Page Designer. In the root node, scroll down to CSS, and expand inline section. And use this small line of CSS code. It will form a red border to indicate that there is an issue. Click the Dynamic Actions tab. Create a new dynamic action. The Lose Focus event type fires when the triggering element loses focus either by the pointing device or by tabbing out of the element. Set type to item. This action affects the one or more page items you enter. And select the name page item. Specify a client-side condition to control whether true or false actions fire. If no condition is specified, only true actions fire. Item is null, checks if the selected item is empty. Under the Show node, set action to add class. It adds one or more CSS classes to the affected elements. And specify the class provided in the form page inline CSS code. This action affects the one or more page items you enter. Create a false action. This action is contrary to the previous action and removes one or more CSS classes from the affected elements. Now run the page to test your work. This is our interactive report page. Edit any employee name to see the form page. Just remove the name of the employee from the page item to see the red color border. It is a symbol that something is wrong here. Now, create the second dynamic action. On the form page, in the root node, scroll down to CSS and expand inline section. Replace the first dynamic action code with the second one. This second code will form a gold color background on page items on Show Focus event. Click the Dynamic Actions tab. To create the second dynamic action, first you have to delete the previous dynamic action. The getFocus event type fires when the triggering element receives focus by either a pointing device or by tabbing into the element. Set type to region. And select the edit region on the form page. Under the Show node, set action to add class. It adds one or more CSS classes to the affected elements. The event source action affects the page element where the event originated, which could be different to the triggering element in some cases. Create another dynamic action. This dynamic action will work contrary to the above one. The remove class action removes one or more CSS classes from the affected elements. Now run the page to test your work. Focus on any item to see the background effect. Finally, let's create the last dynamic action named Stripe Report. Note that this dynamic action will be created on the interactive report page. The after refresh event fires after the triggering element has been refreshed. The event is only valid for triggering elements that perform partial page refresh and fire this event. The native components that support this event are interactive reports, classic reports, charts, list view and all item types with cascading LOV support. This event is also supported by plugins as well, in the current scenario. Set type to region. And select the dynamic actions region on the report page. For action, select Stripe Report plugin. And specify a color to be used to color the background of every alternate row in the report. Run the page to test our last segment. As you can see that rows in our interactive report is colored in lemon chiffon background after each row. That's it for now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned to Tech Mining for more new videos similar like this one. Thank you for watching.